the movie Thor in theaters worldwide, the popular culture is now consumed with discussion of its shocking post-credits reveal, with Marvel Comics fans utterly shocked by what they saw, and everyone else utterly confused as to what the hell it was supposed to mean and why it's important. But before Thor had bowed, its place in the realm of pop culture debate had an entirely different focus. The fact that the supporting character of Heimdall, traditionally depicted as Caucasian in the comic books and Norse myths that loosely inspired them, was played in the film by Idris Elba, who is black. Now, it's no secret that genre fans, and comic fans in particular, don't take kindly to change in general, but when you add the subject of race, it becomes a whole other thing, and a whole other kind of ugliness comes up. Or rather, that's at least how it works here in the States. Yeah, quick sidebar, this is going to be one of those episodes where the perspective is kinda North America-centric. I'm aware that every culture has its own issues with ethnic and racial tensions, but I'm really only qualified to speak on my own, and maybe not even that. Now, I don't want to spend a ton of time on the Heimdall casting itself, because it's kind of over, the movie came out, the world didn't end, the general consensus is he was one of the best things in it, and so on, but the discussion it raised is one that probably deserves to get some more airtime and further hashed over. Plus, I'm up against a deadline, and it was either this, or find out if the Escapist would finally sit me down for a stern talking to if I dedicated an entire episode to the Samurai Pizza Cats. See, for many people the discussion is less about race-swapping fictional characters and more about a perceived double standard. See, it's no secret that when American movies like The Last Airbender or Dragon Ball recast characters who initially belonged to races that here constitute an ethnic minority with a white actor, it's met with almost universal condemnation, while the casting of minorities in traditionally white roles, as is the case of Heimdall, are often met with a more nuanced response. Or, to put it in the terms of thousands upon thousands of unironically infuriated internet postings, why is it okay to, turn white people black, but not to turn black people white? Now, in the past I've argued this point in the form of gently considered and long-winded deliberative academic deconstruction of cultural and historical precedent, but here I've only got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna have to cut to the chase. This is why. Yeah, see folks, in an ideal world, the perplexed complainers would have a point, because in an ideal world, not only would there be no racism now, there would have been no racism ever, and there certainly wouldn't have been centuries upon centuries of European colonialism and the attendant systematic oppression, dehumanization, if not outright extermination of non-white peoples by white peoples, the poisonous legacy of which continues to shape the course of world events and day-to-day existence of all affected cultures to this day. No, in an ideal world, none of that would have ever happened, and thus race-swapping a character in one direction would be exactly the same as doing so in the other direction. But we don't live in an ideal world. We live in a shitty world, where all that stuff happened and all the after effects still linger. And thus, yes, the quote-unquote white culture losing one of the billions of viable white characters is not on any conceivable plane equal to taking away one of the already tiny, tiny handful of viable non-white characters. It'd be swell if it was, but it isn't. To some folks, what I'm saying here qualifies as political correctness. Mostly because to some folks, everything that threatens the sense of cultural privilege they don't want to admit still exists qualifies as political correctness. Still others may object more rationally, on the grounds that it verges on a double standard, to which I reply, yes, it's a double standard. Again, it's not an ideal world. Real world. Shitty world. Double standards are damn near the only standards we have. But yeah, technically turning Goku white being a scandal, but turning Nick Fury into Samuel L. Jackson is kinda cool, is a double standard. A tiny, minuscule double standard that exists as part of a broad, long-term cultural shift meant to correct the long-standing pervasive effects of a very, very big cultural double standard from the not-so-distant past. You know, that whole thing where one person was considered a person while the other was considered property on the basis of their melanin levels? That whole thing? Ringing a bell? Look, getting back to the inciting incident, the fact is, by ignoring the ethnic precedent of this one character, we got to see a unique performance given by a great actor in the kind of role he otherwise probably would never have gotten to play. That's the uncomfortable truth at the heart of this. For hundreds upon hundreds of years, our culture was arranged to unfairly confer privilege and superiority on one race over all others. And one of the lasting results of that is that both the quality and quantity of interesting character roles available to minority actors is incredibly small. I mean, let's be blunt about this. Do you think all those really talented black actors who keep turning up in Tyler Perry movies want to be making freaking Tyler Perry movies? Probably not. But that's all Hollywood is offering them right now. Is the colorblind casting of a black Norse god, or a black Friar Tuck, or hell, maybe even a black Superman the perfect solution? No! Way, way less than perfect. But you gotta start somewhere. I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.